Okay, so anyway, we'll continue now with the last session. So we'll be seeing some examples of doing machine learning on data collected from IoT. So recently we actually started conducting an experiment, as Dr. Somen had earlier outlined, that some of the BTech students were asked to collect sensor data uh, related to the stress prediction under different situations. So uh, I am sharing the data that the sensor generated. Somebody is asking about PPTs and other things. Actually, all recorded sessions are being like posted in YouTube every day. Apart from that, PPTs and other will you know after ending the FDP only we will be able to share. That's what we have to collect from all, and we'll do it in one go, and we'll inform also. I hope okay. Maybe that will be uh, like okay with all. So yeah, so I was saying that this is the data that the sensors. What happened? This is the data that the uh, this data acquisition device, okay, the, or the sensor generated. So yeah, these are typical dimensions or columns. So whenever we are doing some sensor reading, so time information is saved, start time and end time, and we see there is short gap of milliseconds between different records, and these are the sensor readings, and the activity, like this is the data related to reading article. Like if somebody is sitting relaxed, and somebody was under stress, and somebody is sitting taking a break and sitting relaxed and then reading articles, then what happens to the stress level, like that. So we see it's a very big data, of course there are many records, and when we consider a real life scenario, so in that case we see that data size is even high. And as I was studying yesterday, so there are the strategies like offline machine learning, batch wise training of machine learning model, and then doing machine learning performance evaluation can be done, and the data is very big. And the other strategies are, we can go for dimensionality reduction followed by training of machine learning models, and then performance evaluation, like that. So here also we see that the variation, like initially the sensor readings are there. So it starts with values like 400, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that, and then there is some variation because the sensing is continuously going on for a certain period of time. And here we see those typical problems related to data acquisition in real life scenario. So here suddenly we see that sensor value is not like saved. Of course, these are files generated by the sensor, but here we see like this is the date information, like where dead information instead of a sensor reading. So like this column will be a problematic column, and we have to do data curation. Okay. So the pre-processing activity related to the data that we are seeing here has to be done so that this data can be used. There are like many instances of that. So you can say missing values here in this case. The sensor reading is missing. Here also you see, and the values are changing, like that. So yeah, so these records, like, can be ignored directly. Otherwise, we can put some average value. So there are different strategies. So we can take some neighboring like values for the particular dimension here, like the dimension in the sensor reading value, and then we can put the average value. So like it can be 387. So that also we can do. So like that. So there are many instances, and this you know, big list of values. So we see the variation. So roughly we get an idea that the sensor reading for stress monitoring for persons reading stress, reading articles for relaxation from stress, um, like varies between the values 400, say 30, yeah, between uh, 420 and 430, and the lowest value is close to 350, 340, like that. Okay, so between these two like value ranges, we are getting the sensor reading upon monitoring. So now, before doing machine learning, some other aspects also we have to decide. So what will be the features that we have to consider? Hmm? I've already shown here that we need data pre-processing because there are certain missing values. Even though there is a like automated data file, like the data file was automatically generated by the sensor only, but then we have seen in some cells that the sensor reading is missing. So either we can ignore those, okay, rows, because we see that the trend of value is almost remaining the same, okay, in short time gap. Otherwise, if we want to keep those records or rows, then we can use average method and put the values, and after this kind of pre-processing, so the next thing that comes is whether we need dimensionality reduction or feature engineering. So here the number of dimension are not many. In fact, here are only 3 columns. Next, you have to decide that whether we need all these 3 columns of the data for doing machine learning. So here, first of all, what we see is time. Now, is time having any connection between the prediction of the stressed condition on a reading article, that the stress reduces or not? So I think there is no connection in that sense, because what we are seeing is effect of article reading on stress. Yeah, if we would have studied the effect of the different timings of the day on stress, then the question would have been different. Then we would have considered. But here that is not the question, and we can see that it is like 15:51. That is around 6 p.m. 17:51. That means around 6 p.m. it started, and for how much time we recorded? Last record is yeah, for 6:12. So for around 20 minutes or so, we have took the sensor reading. So initially the person was at a say higher stress level, so 405, and then as the reading continued, the values, okay, kept changing, things like that. Depends on what kind of article somebody is reading. After setting for a certain time and then continuing reading, the value is decreasing and increasing, so it remained like that. So time factor we will not consider here. Started time is also not required. This is a start time, relative started time with respect to the sensors, like starting, okay, when it started operation, the sensor started to sense, and it is going on. So in fact, these 2 columns are not relevant. So this is the only column that is supposed to give the valuable information related to the machine learning activity that we want to do in connection to estimation of stressed state when reading articles. So in that case, um, next question that comes is, okay, that we took some decision on data. uh, so regarding pre-processing, yeah, so pre-processing is also remaining. We have to take care of those things. Next thing is what kind of machine learning we will do. we'll do supervised learning, machine learning, or unsupervised machine learning. So one immediate response that comes, okay, intuitively is that we can do clustering. And there are how many classes here? There are only two classes. One is not stressed class, another is stressed class. And for all these sensor readings, the value, suppose if we keep another column, if you create another column, whether reading article or not. So for all these sensor values, like for the stress, the value for reading article will be one only for each and every value. If the scenario would have been a different one, that person is sometimes reading and sometimes not reading, then of course there would have been, like, we could have done choice of only two values, binary values 0 and 1 for reading and not reading. So a person is seated, started reading for some time, so for the columns reading article we would have used 1, and then when reading paused for some time and zeros and like that. But here we are assuming that the reading was continuously going on. The person started to read at 5:51, continued to read, and in between the what to say, the stress level varied as signified by the sensor readings. And then finally at 6:18 we like noted the end reading of the sensor related to the stress of the particular person reading the article, and now we have this data. So of course still there are 24,783 records here, or 24,782 records. First one is the label row. So if we select just this column, this is a direct row data I'm showing. So I'm starting the activity from there only. Okay, so this is the data. So I'm just manually removing some of those rows records. So we could have written a code also just to find for capital M, AM, PM, both will end with capital M only. We just ignore this column, or we could put average. So for like here, just now what I did later, I could have used 386 also. Well, okay. Rather, let us try in Excel only. Use filtering, filter. So these many are there, so we can ignore this. So this is our data. I filtered it the other way around, and like for most of the sensors, we find that uh, the output is saved in the form of some CSV file and XLS file. So this is about stress underscore reading, stress status reading. I save this the text data file. I'll close this. No. I have another file related to like watching some video for relaxation from stress given by the same data acquisition device, sensor device. Here also there are situations. So here like it started from 6:13, just after that. So that kind of correlation we didn't consider. If we can complicate situation, we can consider that whether this reading of article for initially reduce the stress, followed by video watching further reducing the stress. So this is okay, like different data file. So that corresponds to watching the video and the stress level. So it's again contains of many records, and there are certain like missing values here. The same kind of activity we can do followed by doing clustering. So here also the we can calculate the like like largest the stress value and smallest stress value, find the range, and we can do clustering, and we can do like clustering for uh, category like categorization of this data into two classes like that. Okay, so now let's try with MATLAB. Uh, so I'm soon going to show the clustering of this, actually connecting to the online MATLAB drive and uploading. This is stress copy. Yeah, it's taking little time. File size is little big. It's slow. What? Maybe. So, yeah, we finally find. Okay. Okay, so it's uploaded. MATLAB drive published. Okay, so I'm just sharing the MATLAB drive. Yeah, so here in the MATLAB drive, yeah, there. Sorry. We see there are these many records, 24,751 records on one column, and then let's see how is the performance. The pass level. So you see that there is a classification done. So some records are classified into stress category 2, and some records are categorized into stress category 1. And then we can like continue choosing other algorithms, and then we can like see like other classification possible, because in case of clustering, so there is no fixed answer. Of course there are clustering validity measures, and using that we can get some amount of estimation of goodness of clustering. So for this very simple scenario, I'm not doing that because I have other examples to discuss. So here I basically took this example to tell, like yesterday I was telling, and like this point is usually not understood or appreciated. Yeah, like sometimes that data preprocessing and curation and these kind of things, how why that will be required in such a like advanced stage of computing these days, everywhere available. We have sensors and it is generating Excel file. But we like here what we did, we understood that immediately we had to decide about the missing values, what to do, what features to consider, and then what kind of machine learning to do. So we started with unsupervised learning. Those things I did. So for that purpose, I had taken this example. Now another example I'd like to take. So in that connection, so this is like uh, another data here. This. What is this? Okay, no problem. This is MATLAB drive. So it uses the Python machine learning like library from scikit-learn, and there are two interfaces for this Jupyter notebook. It can be used online also, offline also. So in this second example that I am going to discuss, the IoT data comprises of sensor inputs collected for three aspects. So it's related to sound, and then the accelerometer reading, and there is one more thing here. Okay. Accelerometer reading is there, mean, mode, and then minimum, maximum reading, standard deviation, and the gyroscope reading is also there. Yeah, that is related to the orientation. So we are considering three things: so acceleration, and then gyroscope, values. Okay, so guys, like orientation sensing, and then sound. And based on that, we have to like comment about the target that the person who is being monitored regarding the movement through like accelerometer reading, and like the orientation, and like person is sitting or standing or walking or doing what, and what is the like kind of background sound. So if somebody is walking, background sound will be different. Somebody is in bus, somebody is in train, somebody is in car. So then the situations will be different. So there are like three kinds of sensing uh, that was done for this data. So one about movement, one about the orientation, and one about the background sound. Now here, this is the data. This is again having many records. And what kind of machine learning we can do for that. And this is a timestamp. Okay, so that may not be very relevant. If we, of course, raise this interesting question that there is some relevance between at what time a person may be doing what. So then we can establish a correlation. Like usually at night times, people will not be walking or will be in a train or bus or car. That kind of thing, relevance or something like that, has not been shown, and there are in total 5,893 records here. Okay, so now what we'll do is that we'll just upload this data. Modified archive. So I take this. It has come here. Now I'll create an interactive Python notebook file. So I create this. Let's say person movement three sensors. Now we have to import some basic libraries. So like I'll be using some libraries like pandas, numpy, those kind of things will be taken care of. Hanging machine. We do this. Pandas very C1 numpy, plotting support, and yeah, scikit-learn library support. This is loading the data set. So it is there in, I just uploaded in the data folder. And it does not exist. Yes. Okay. Dot slash. So this is the data. So this is the raw data, actual original data, and there are so many columns. So now the question here arises is that like what kind of pre-processing needs to be done for this data. So what we want is we have data available and we want to train a model based on the different accelerometer readings, different what to say gyroscope readings, and different sound readings, so that that model can predict later on for unknown data that the person is still, or the person is in car, or the person is in train or walking, like that. So for that we want to prepare a model. So from this data we have so many records here, close to 6,000 records. From this data we would like to take out some data, and that data we will use as training data, and then the remaining data we can like do performance evaluation like that. But we have to see that how many columns we'll keep, like each column may represent a feature. So shall we use all these columns? Because if we have too many columns also, training may not be good. So these are some practical aspects. Okay, so what next we can do? So first of all, we will be able to like do some explorative data analysis. So let's say we collect the information related to the data. So yeah, fortunately we find that in this data there are no null values. Okay, we see there are no null values here. So we don't have to like take care of like null values and other errors, missing value issues here. So with respect to that, this data is good one. Then we can next do some more error checks in the data. So we can check about duplication, whether there is any duplication. My sound is coming.
Yes, sir, it's coming.
Screen sharing is coming properly.
Yes, yes, everything is fine, sir.
So here we see that is there any duplication? So no, then there is no duplication also. So fortunate enough, because this was like open source data I collected, and yeah, but sometimes that may be there. So in that case, we may have to take some remedial steps, again using like various API library functions of this scikit-learn machine learning model. We can take care of that. Okay. Next, what we can do is we can think of like doing some feature engineering. So morning I was thinking that some of the columns, like here we see in some of the columns there is a column for standard deviation. We can directly calculate, like this is the mean accelerometer reading is the minimum, maximum, and there is a standard deviation column. I think that this can be ignored. So what we do is that we drop the standard deviation column, as we can see now. The number of columns are reduced. Like here it is like more number of columns. So I'm not keeping standard deviation, and even those columns, yeah, later on I'll tell. So it is about like loading the data set. Like, starting to X over the input data. I'm just putting some comments so that our discussion becomes little less tough. If you're feeling some toughness, then it is about checking duplicates. Duplicates. Then here, removing standard deviation related data columns of data. Okay. This also results in like feature reduction. So we have to work with less number of features, and we can choose the features intelligently. We have to always do some amount of like a choice of features. Then what we can do is one more thing. We can take care of this rename of the columns. Like you see, these names were created by the sensor device. Recently I was seeing a demo that like the Google Script technology can be integrated with like sensors for creating online Google's like spreadsheet based this files, and the data can be stored online by sensing device, and later on that data can be downloaded in CSV or XLS format, like that. So there these Excel column names can be generated during that activity. So these names may not be very convenient to read. So here we see everywhere there is android.sensor and things like that, and hash, min, max, those kind of things are there. Okay, so we can make the column names more readable. So now what we see is that this Android sensor thing has been replaced by null string, and we're replacing this hash by underscore. Okay. Then also, can we further reduce the number of features? Okay. So we need accelerometer readings, we need gyroscope readings, we need sound sensing data to finally like predict about the target after selecting training records, and then doing training, and then preparing the model, and then training testing with the test data, and with unknown data also, and things like that. So different activities we can do. So yeah, some more like closer look into the columns can give us some more deeper insight. So here we see like the mean values and the min. One is mean, one is min, is max. So there is some amount of difference. We see here is 9.9, 7.7, 17.1. But for some columns, I saw that the values are quite close. So in that case, we need not keep so many columns. So we can further reduce on the number of columns. So that was the sound column somewhere. Yes. You see, for the sound columns, there is a lot of similarity between the three columns. Mean, min, max. There is a lot of similarity. So what we can do is that we can drop out some columns. Whereas for gyroscope readings, this is not the case, like mean and maximum, there are differences. Similarly for the accelerometer, sensing, there are differences. Yeah, so this mean max and like mean min max, and this mean min max later to gyroscope readings we can keep. For sound we can keep only one. So but till then, can we see a plot also, right? That also we can see. Okay, if we first drop, okay, then the data view is like this. Without dropping, this is the previous view. So now the number of columns are reduced, and like the number of features is less. And with these many features, now out of 5,893 records, we can select say 70 to 75% of the records for doing the training. And then after like this model's training, the model is ready to be tested. And if we get a good or satisfactory test accuracy, then with unknown data we can start testing. And unknown data means what? The data again collected through these three sensors, uh, like with the person, like whose like movement status is our like target prediction, uh, like what to say, parameter. Yeah, that means whether the person is walking or is still, is in car, bus, train, like that. That's what. So some plots also we can do. So this example basically I took to tell that the second aspect of doing machine learning, especially for getting good results, is how to take care of feature engineering, reduction in the number of columns in the data. Because when we are talking of IT scenario, and typically we use many sensors, at least 5 6 sensors, and we get many columns in the data. So we have to take care of that. So here we have taken care of, and we reduced lot many number of columns from the initial number of columns. Okay, and finally we have this view. So let's see some plots. See, this plot is okay. This is what. What is okay? Maybe there is some small issue in somewhere. Subplot 411, 422, 413, 414. 3 4 plots are coming. Okay, mean sound, gyroscope, accelerometer, time. But anyway, like we are able to get, there may be some minor connection needed. Okay, so we have to see. Okay, so accelerometer reading with respect to time, starting from 0 to 400. So this is showing a trend, uh, time trend. Okay, so accelerometer, gyroscope, someone is coming. Okay, fine. Okay. Sometimes we need to refresh from the beginning. Okay, some change. Okay, so then, yeah, can we do some plotting now? Okay. Let us try with some classification rather. That is better. Let us start with simple unsupervised clustering. Usually, what I think is that for a completely unknown or new data, it's a good practice to start with unsupervised learning. So here, yeah, this random state 42. Somebody may ask the question. Random state 42 we are using so that every time the split that happens randomly, okay, doesn't result in different like splits, random splits for preparation of training and test data. Please share the Jupyter notebook. This is okay. Yeah, those things are good. Yeah. So now we have already created okay the training and test data, and here what we did is, yeah, I didn't put the comments. Remove sound max and min columns as there is high correlation between the three sound columns. Okay. Then now, because we have to do clustering, so in that case we don't need this target column or label column, right, for the different records. So we are just seeing the head, tail view. Also we can see the data set. So head view, first five records, last five records. Numbering starts for the rows from 0, like that. So we are just dropping that, and then whatever remains, that is the X. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8. This first 8 columns, okay, for all the 5,893 records will be considered, and from that, okay, some amount of records will be selected as X train, and the rest of the rows will be going to the X test. Similarly, for the target column, what will happen? Like for the training records, whatever 70 or 75% records we selected, okay, the corresponding target values will be the like target values for the training set, and for the remaining records which went to the X test, means test data set, the remaining target values will be in the Y test, like that. So Y trained will contain target values for X trained records, and Y test will contain the target column records for X test records, like that. Now what we can do is, we can, because we don't know like how many clusters are there and things like that. So one simple strategy in clustering is what, that we try with different values of number of clusters. So we try with different values of number of clusters. So let's say do something like this. So now we understand. Okay, so that we could do some amount of machine learning. Of course, unsupervised machine learning we start with. So initially in the morning, I was trying with different like values of k, starting from 1 up to 11. So let's see with other numbers. Different values of k. Okay, so it's a smaller range. Okay, some bigger range, things like that. So we see this this code. Actually, what we are doing here is we are trying to predict the target values for the X test records and comparing the actual target values in the exted records. Y test, okay, that's what. So Y test is containing the original actual target values for the test data set that we created, and that we predict. Okay, but like what we are doing here is, you see, we selected a range of values for the number of clusters starting from 2 to 9 or 1 to 10 or 1 to 11. Then these are scores. So this score is basically the root mean square error, because we are here, we are doing regression. So we take this classifier model, and then we change the value of k. The small k is changing, and then this training, okay, is happening, the training data set and the corresponding target values from Y train. And after that, what is happening? So whenever we get a trained model, okay, based on the KNN classifier, so then we are calculating the root mean square error. Here what we are doing is, okay, when we call this core function, so there's a documentation on scikit-learn, we can easily understand. So it is trying to predict this column, this target, and comparing the predicted values for the target column with the original target column values for the test records, and then calculating the deviations, the errors between the two sets of values, the predicted target values and the actual target values, and then and these scores are being saved, and that we are plotting. So lower the score value, okay, lower is the error, and like that. So we see that like the values are good. Like initially also we understood that there are different targets like still, car, walking, within train, okay, and within bus and things like that. So at least for values more than 4, like for k 4, 5, 6, we see that the root mean square error is reducing, like that. So this was another example. Okay, so of course we can try with more models. So I tried with one more also, that also I can see. And there is another example of data that was related to prediction of presence of number of vehicles, okay, in the traffic points of like road interconnections, and the number of vehicles in general at different times of like a day and within a month, for different days of a month, like that. So for that also I downloaded one IoT data publicly available. For that also some kind of machine learning activities, beginning with exploratory data analysis, and I can show. Okay, so let me just pause it here, okay, and start with the third example. The time also I have to consider. So another I will create interactive Python notebook file. So let it be number of vehicles traffic for 1 month, like that. Okay, that is, let me just upload the data for that. Traffic. Okay. Traffic pattern data. And this suppose I upload three files I'm uploading data. Okay, so for that we'll again start with some EDA activities. So import module not found error, which one is import GC. Okay, XGBoost. XGBoost. Okay. Yes. Data, full data, pencil data. So which one? This is data folder here. Let us create the training test data set. Delete. Okay. This is data. Reading the data. So some information I will display regarding the data types and things like that. So we see that most of the like entries are non-null. Okay. So yeah, this notebook. Okay. Outcome is showing all these things, and we are actually monitoring the accumulation of vehicles at different junctions. Okay, for over a month, like that. So yeah, so not much processing is required here. It's fine. So similarly, this for test set also. Okay, the same. So good. for the remaining records also, we have known null values. Okay. Head and tail value. So these many records. That means 48,120 records. So there's the view. So date time junction. The different junction numbers are there. That means junctions are numbered and they are like aggregation of vehicles, like accumulation of vehicles in different junctions. And this is the identifier related to the sense, like record. That's what generated by sensing because of the use of sensors. Then some more information. Okay. Yes. So whether there is uniqueness or not. There is uniqueness in the ID. Okay. So all the IDs for different, because it's a big collection of data, 48,120 records. So we have to check at the same time that whether there is uniqueness also, duplicacy is not there. Okay, like that. So all the IDs are unique for both training and test data sets. Now if we need to do some feature engineering, so that we can try, because you have to now, okay, like prepare the data for doing some amount of machine learning. Unique date time, and because this date time information is not relevant here. Again, as I was telling earlier, what record, what columns are relevant, what are not relevant. The original data, what are relevant, what are not relevant, that we have to see. So, for finding out the like relevance between date and the accumulation of number of vehicles, okay, we are not considering that kind of a relationship here. So let's see what we can do with in that case. Null check also fine. Weekday, year, month, day, time, and week, quarter wise for 1 month we can do. Yes. Yes, for training, only for test. We can do the visualization. Yeah. So this is the number of times the vehicles are crossing, okay, across the different junctions, okay. Of course, at different times, so that time information we are not showing. So that is being monitored. How many times through different junctions, different number of vehicles are crossing. Now what we can do is we can do some kind of like encoding. So we'll see that very soon. Like we can use let's say one-hot encoding. So there are different junctions are numbered. So when what vehicle is at what junction, so for that we can try something. This code is taking care of that. So you see that is the encoding that we are obtaining, and this is a simplified view. So there is date time, there is ID, there is time, there is week, week number, there is different junctions, and this is the encoding that we are obtaining. So like the full view is not shown, okay, and for some days it is shown here. That's what. Now if we can create a simple, machine learning model. Then we can do the classification. Okay. Then so training and test, of course, then we can, with this kind of representation, we can do some amount of machine learning classification to predict the crossing of vehicles across different junctions. Yeah, so mainly I took care of the representation, re-representation of the records. Okay, through this example, we try to understand that sometimes we need to do encoding of the input also. Okay, so that I have finally displayed here. How many junctions we have? 5 junctions, different weekdays, different days of the month, and like that. Okay. Yeah. Now going back to this previous example of person's movement. Here, here what aspect I have taken care of. Either we have taken care of the aspects of choice of features by reducing the number of columns. Here re-representation is not was not required. Okay, we had all numeric values, and directly from the input records we could prepare the training set. Okay, and we could start doing training of machine learning models. So here we just saw regarding KNN, one or more model we can see. So similarly here, okay, we did similar activities of exploratory data analysis in the beginning, but then here what we see is that we needed some re-representation, okay, to make the input data, okay, that was made available by the sensor fit for doing machine learning. Okay. Now some more classification. I will continue with this example because with that one I have not tried with many classifiers. This one I had tried. So I'll show this example. So let's try with some classifiers other than KNN for the previous example. So based decision classifier I can use. Yeah. Let's see the results. decision examples there. Yeah, for the previous example. Okay, so we now earlier did with KNN for this data. Okay, and then now we are trying with Bayesian, decision. Okay, based classifier, and we can calculate scores. Okay, and two more classifiers also. Suppose one more classifier if we consider. Okay, let's say we Gaussian, naive-Bayes classifier decision. This is Bayesian decision. We load all models, then we can start calculating these scores, and we can do a model comparison. Okay, so micro models in importance. So the lower the score, the better the learning. Show. Maybe refresh from the beginning. Yes. Yes. Loading. Types in data. Okay. Data set. Okay, there's a one problem that if you are using Jupyter Notebook online, it is not going to save the status. I like you have to create an account, then archive team. Okay, it's there already. Okay, it's there already. Okay, what's the problem? PD is not defined. Okay, why? It's already there. Plus is PD. Okay, yeah. Sorry, yeah. Info sum is dropping of column. Then simple k means clustering for different values of k. Yeah, Bayesian decision based classifier. And some other models, total 3 models. And then, okay, so this is the comparison finally. So what we find is that the KNN classifier is not able to reduce the root mean square score for regression that much. Compared to that, the best classifier that performs on this data. Okay, this is related to the person's movement status. That person is sitting, walking, in the car, in the bus, in the train. Okay, or still based on 3 sensor readings like accelerometer reading, gyroscope reading, and the background noise sound. And we see that out of these 3 classifiers that have been used here, the Gaussian naive-Bayes classifier has performed the best. Okay, so basically I took examples of 3 data sets. All are open source data sets. One is a data set that we only generated here, for prediction of stress with respect to two situations while reading book or while watching video for stress reduction. Second example is related to the status of person's movement with respect to three sensor readings, and there were many records. And the third example was like uh, monitoring the movement of vehicles across different junctions in a traffic of a particular town or city, and how many times they are crossing, and based on that making some predictive like analysis and some decision making. So thank you very much. This is what I prepared for today. So if there is some questions, comments, so they are welcome. Last 4-day session. Okay, videos of last 4-day session is available in YouTube. Is there any? Submit the quiz. Yeah, quiz will be there. Next session will start at 12. And minimum marks is 60. Attendance links are shared, and recordings will be available. Yes. Quiz timing is just after the last session at 4 p.m. There will be short valedictory followed by quiz. Okay, Jupiter, and then okay. So then I think there are no more questions. Yeah, means IoT data will be available, and sometimes this IoT data sets, even for short stints of recording, the size will be huge. There will be so many records, and we will require pre-processing, taking care of missing values. Sometimes we need to do also normalization. Like one example, the third example we saw, that is like representation of the original input sensor data into a form so that it becomes fit for model training. Like we use one hot encoding. So this encoding can be used like for text data. I was telling yesterday that we need encoding. We may go for n-gram encoding or character n-gram encoding. So proper encoding has to be also be done sometimes after initial data curation, error removal and pre-processing also. Okay, and then feature selection also is required. Dimensional reduction is required. Many things are required before actually preparing the training and test data sets for machine learning models. Okay. Is it possible to start the test earlier? I don't think we'll start the test earlier. Okay, let me discuss with my co-coordinator. Okay, for some special cases. Okay. So okay, then I think we can end here. So we'll continue our next session at 12 p.m. Thank you very much for your participation.